Okay, so real talk. You said you'd be there at 7. It is now 7:43. You are currently in your car, driving, telling yourself you're almost there, even though you are objectively 20 minutes away and you know it. And somehow, you are still surprised that you're late. Like this is a new experience. Like this hasn't happened literally every single time. And the wildest part, you genuinely meant to be on time. You always mean to be on time. Here's the thing that's going to make every punctual person in your life genuinely frustrated when they hear it. Being chronically late has almost nothing to do with being disrespectful. For real. Research from the Journal of Applied Social Psychology found that chronically late people are not less caring, not less conscientious, and not less respectful of other people's time than punctual people. They just have a fundamentally different relationship with time itself. Psychologists actually have a name for it. They call it time blindness. And it's exactly what it sounds like, the inability to accurately feel how much time is passing. Like your internal clock is running on a completely different system than everyone else's. Punctual people feel time, like physically feel it moving. They know instinctively that 30 minutes have passed without even checking a clock. Chronically late people, they look up and somehow an hour and a half just evaporated, and they have absolutely no idea how. Sound familiar? But here's where it gets genuinely interesting and a little bit validating. Research shows that people who are chronically late tend to score significantly higher in optimism than people who are always on time. Like measurably higher, scientifically documented optimism. Here's what that looks like in real life. A punctual person thinks, okay, it takes 30 minutes to get there. I need to account for traffic, parking, and getting settled, so I should leave 45 minutes early. A chronically late person thinks, okay, it takes 30 minutes to get there. I'll leave in 30 minutes, maybe 25. I can make up the time. It'll be fine. It is not fine. But here's the thing. That optimism isn't stupidity. It's a genuine cognitive bias called the planning fallacy. First identified by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, two of the most respected names in behavioral psychology ever, it describes the very human tendency to underestimate how long tasks will take while simultaneously overestimating how efficiently you'll execute them. In simple terms, your brain genuinely believes you can do in 20 minutes what realistically takes an hour. And it believes this every single time, no matter how many times it's been wrong before. Your brain is not learning from experience here, and that's not a personal failure. That's literally how this particular cognitive bias works. Okay, pause for a second. Think about the last time you were getting ready to go somewhere. You knew what time you needed to leave, you had it all figured out in your head, and then you thought, okay, I've got a few minutes, let me just do this one quick thing. And then that one quick thing turned into 3 things, and suddenly you're running around the house looking for your keys while simultaneously trying to put your shoes on and also somehow thinking, this is fine and you can still make it. You cannot make it. You never could make it. But your brain was absolutely convinced you could. That's not carelessness. That's optimism so powerful it has completely overridden your ability to accurately assess reality, which is honestly kind of impressive when you think about it. Now here's the part that hits genuinely different. Chronically late people don't just struggle with leaving on time. They struggle with something much deeper than that. They struggle with transitions. Psychologists describe this as difficulty disengaging, the inability to smoothly shift from one activity to the next. When a chronically late person is in the middle of something, a conversation, a project, a show, a thought, their brain finds it genuinely difficult to just stop and switch gears. Not because they don't want to, because neurologically, the act of stopping something mid-flow creates real cognitive discomfort. This is why you're always late after doing something you enjoy. You were in the zone, everything was flowing, and the idea of just stopping felt almost physically uncomfortable. And so you said 5 more minutes, and then 5 more, and then somehow it's been 45 minutes, and now you're speed walking to your car hoping traffic is somehow magically non-existent tonight. It is not magically non-existent. Here's something that's going to reframe this whole thing for you. The brain that makes you chronically late is also the brain that gets deeply, completely, fully absorbed in things. And that's actually rare. Like, genuinely rare. Most people skim the surface of experiences. They're half present in conversations, half present in their work, half present in their relationships. Their attention is always partially somewhere else. But chronically late people, when they're fully in, completely absorbed, totally present in whatever they're doing right now. That's not a flaw. That's a form of deep engagement that most people honestly never experience. The problem isn't that you get too absorbed in things. The problem is that the world runs on a schedule that doesn't account for people who actually show up fully to their own lives. But okay, real talk. Let's be honest for a second. Because as validating as all of this is, being chronically late does cause real problems for you and for the people around you. It damages trust. It makes people feel like their time doesn't matter to you, even when it does. It creates a reputation that follows you around professionally and personally, and it adds a constant low-level stress to your life, because you are almost always running behind, almost always rushing, almost always arriving slightly breathless and slightly apologetic. And here's the painful irony. Chronically late people report significantly higher levels of stress related to time than punctual people. You're not relaxed about being late. You're actually more stressed about time than anyone. You're just stressed about it already running behind instead of before you leave. So what actually works? Because just leave earlier has never worked. You know that. Everyone in your life knows that. That advice has been given to you approximately 1,000 times, and it has helped exactly 0 of those times. Here's what actually works for a brain wired this way. First, stop estimating, start timing. Literally time how long your morning routine actually takes. Time how long the drive actually takes. Because your brain's estimates are genuinely unreliable, and you need real data to override them. Second, build in a fake deadline. Tell your brain you need to leave 15 minutes before you actually need to leave. Not as a trick, as a genuine buffer for the optimism your brain will inevitably apply to that deadline too. Third, use transitions as triggers. Instead of thinking, I need to leave at 7, think, when this show ends, I get up immediately. Linking the transition to an existing stopping point works with how your brain naturally operates instead of fighting it. These aren't productivity hacks. They're accommodations for a brain that genuinely experiences time differently. And they work not because they fix the time blindness, but because they work around it. Here's the truth that ties all of this together. If you are always late, you are not a bad person. You are not selfish. You are not disrespectful. You are someone whose brain is wired for depth over efficiency, for presence over punctuality, for optimism over realism. Those are genuinely beautiful qualities that make you someone people love being around when you finally show up. The goal isn't to become a different person. The goal is to get that person there on time.